Are live. What's up, guys? This is a live Blender Q&A and tutorial. Let me make sure to be live everywhere. Give me a second. What is up, everyone? What's up, guys? We are live. This is a live Blender Q&A and tutorial. If you have any questions regarding anything in Blender and want to follow along a live tutorial, this is the place to be. We are live on all the platforms. We're live on Instagram, YouTube, Kick, Twitch, and Facebook. What's up, guys? Yo, what's up, ZCH? What's up, brother? What's going on, everyone? By the way, feel free to join in the Zoom. That is where you're going to see it in full screen. What's up, Rui Zak? Sorry if I butcher your name. Howdy, cool cube. Thank you, brother. I spent a lot of time making it. What's up, you fellow boy? What's up? What's up, Malka? By the way, guys, on Instagram, is the screen blurry or is it just me? Or is it blurry? By the way, guys, we're live on Kick, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So we're live everywhere. Again, this is a live Q&A and tutorial. I model with tries. I'm making N64 style assets and models. Awesome, man. Very, very cool. No, it's fine. It's okay. Okay, cool. I don't know. On my screen, I see it like really blurry for some reason. But maybe it's just because I have so many things open. All right, guys. This is a live Q&A and tutorial. My device gets fried while rendering things. That is not good, man. Good morning, sir. What's up, Yash? By the way, guys, feel free to join into the Zoom. So for the Zoom, you could go ahead and join in via right here. If you go to zoom.com, in the top right, click on join and just type in the ID that you see on the screen. So 891-1925-4656. And you'll be able to join in the Zoom and watch directly from the Zoom, which is much better. I broke my computer, so now I can't use Blender. No! You got to get that thing fixed right away, man. That's the most important. All right, guys, I'm also going to post the Zoom link right here. All right, guys. So again, if anyone has any questions regarding anything in Blender, go ahead. Whoever has any questions, feel free to ask. Again, we're going to do a live Q&A and then a live tutorial. And once again, guys, feel free to join in the Zoom. You don't have to talk or show your face, but you'll be able to see in full screen what the heck is happening. All right, so does anyone have any questions regarding anything in Blender? What's up, Yash? How are you, man? Again, guys, it could be related to anything. There are no stupid or silly questions. Again, we all start at the same place. What's up, Ab? We all start at the very beginning. So if you have any questions, the questions could be related to geometry nodes, shader nodes, compositing, animation, whatever you want. By the way, guys, we do this every single weeknight at 6 p.m. PST. So 6 p.m. PST, we go live and we do a live Q&A and tutorial. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask and then we'll get right into it. By the way, guys, we'll be doing a live tutorial after. We'll be finishing up the low poly scene. So for those of you who have been following along with that, we'll be finishing it tonight and moving on to a new project. People are like, thank God. Been doing the low poly scene for too long. As an intermediate level user, what path do you recommend I take? Yellow Boy asks. A desert scene with dunes. Sure, we could do that, Ab. I need your wisdom. Excuse me. Yellow Boy is asking me what path to take. Let me check one thing, by the way. All right, cool. So first of all, which path are you trying to go down? Are you trying to do animation? Are you wanting to do modeling? Are you wanting to work in the game industry in animation? Like, what are you trying to do? And then we'll make a desert scene with dunes. So where are you trying to go in 3D? Do you want to work for yourself? You want to work in a studio? You want to do animation? You want to kind of do it all, or you have no idea? Just so I have a little bit better idea of where you're at. Character stuff. Awesome. So basically like animation and things like that. All right. So what I recommend is if you're doing character stuff, and again, for character stuff, there could be many things. There could be like sculpting, modeling, texturing, or animating. So depending on which path you want to take, again, you could kind of do all of those in the character path. But if you want to narrow down and just do one thing, I would see first what is the exact path you want to take, whether you want to solely focus on animation or solely on modeling or just do a little bit of everything with characters. And a bit of everything, he says. Okay, cool. So I would say basically starting simple and building a portfolio. So, and again, this depends if you want to work in a studio like DreamWorks or if you want to freelance or just do your own thing. But whatever you want to do, a portfolio always is great to have because if you want to get hired somewhere, they're able to see your work. So what I would say is get in depth with character modeling and animation. And you said you're intermediate. So I would start with some intermediate level character things to build your portfolio. I know this sounds very vague, but again, I don't have too much info of exactly where you're trying to go. But I would build a portfolio with some characters in it and, model some intermediate characters, rig them, animate them. And then where do you want to go? Like, what do you want to do with it once you have that? Do you want to freelance or work in a studio or what? What's up, guys? Welcome. This is a live Blender Q&A and tutorial. We do this every weeknight. Again, feel free to ask any questions you want regarding Blender. And right here, someone asked, he's intermediate in Blender, and he was wondering where to go on his path. So, freelance. Okay, awesome. So once again, I would just start building your portfolio and going from there. And then as soon as you can, get a couple freelance jobs under your belt. One of the best places to kind of start out is Fiverr.com. So once you feel comfortable with it, go to Fiverr.com, get a couple freelance jobs under your belt. And that will start to build your confidence and your portfolio. Ab says, I'm an architect and I try to use Blender for my freelancing projects. Can you recommend me some add-ons or methods other than ArchiMesh or ArchiPack? Sure, brother. Let me answer the other question before though. Oh, wait, that was you, Ab. So let me go. Nothing crazy, just making fantasy characters become 3D. Yeah, man, go for it. Just start making it and it will, one step at a time. So Ab is asking a desert scene with dunes. For sure. Let me show that quickly. And then I'll go back to the other question. So Ab00, good to see you, my friend, is asking how to make a desert scene with dunes. So very simple. I mean, there's many different ways you could do it. But a great way to do it is if we go over here, we could just have our default cube, go to the modifiers, and under the modifiers, we're going to get an ocean modifier. Now, yes, it's made for the ocean and it's called the ocean, but this is a great way to make some sand and some dunes because it's basically almost the same kind of shape. So on the ocean modifier, obviously here, the main thing is just to kind of tweak your ocean modifier. So we could bring up the scale to make the dunes a little bit more hilly. We could increase the repeat X and Y. We could put this to like 6 or whatever. So now we have a little bit more of a sand. And then right here, we could adjust the choppiness, for example, kind of tone that down. And we could tone down some of the other settings, such as the sides right here. No, that's not the setting I'm looking for. I'm looking for the smallest wave. There we go. We could change the smallest wave, kind of make it a little smoother. Again, adjust the scale. And again, just adjusting the kind of settings you have on the ocean modifier, you could start to get some cool sand dunes right here. Now, obviously, we need a texture or material for this. So if I go to material preview, over here, we could go to the shader editor, and right here, out of the base color, we could get a wave texture. So wave texture. And let me just hit Control T to add a mapping and texture coordinate. Again, I have Node Wrangler enabled. I'm just adding a texture mapping texture coordinate, a mapping node, and a wave texture. I'm going to put the scale down to like 0.1. And then right here, I'm just going to increase the distortion. I could increase the detail and the detail scale. And then if I simply drop by the way, let me know anyone if I'm going too fast, but I'm assuming that most people are kind of familiar with this. I'm just kind of giving a broad overview. So right here, I would then just add a color ramp and give it some kind of sand material. And there you go. You got some sand dunes. Now, of course, spend more time tweaking it because obviously, this could have a lot of tweaking to it. But as you can see, there we go. And then, of course, the magic is in the bump. So out of the normal, add a bump node and plug your noise into the bump so that you actually have some bump on the sand. And maybe put it down a little bit, distance to 0.1. Does anyone have any questions about what I just went over or what something does or whatever? Any question? Again, there are no stupid questions if you're wondering what the bump node does or etc. But yeah, I would just do it that way, my friend, to add some sand dunes. Again, get your object, add an ocean modifier to it, and then tweak it to get the kind of look that you want for your sand dunes. And then just add a simple wave texture to it. Let me know if that helps you, my friend. What's up, guys? This is a live Blender Q&A and tutorial. Once again, guys, live on Zoom. So people on Instagram, you're only going to see a third of the screen. If you want to go to the Zoom link, you don't have to talk or show your face, but you'll be able to see everything in a much bigger screen. All right. And then as an intermediate level user, what path do you recommend I take? I don't recommend you take any path, man. I can't recommend you. You have to see what you're passionate about. Oh, that was a question before. Oh, what was quick and easy? Oh, that was quick and easy. Thanks, man. Anytime, brother. I mean, there's many ways to do it, but that's a quick and easy way, as you said. All right. Does anyone have any other questions? I know Ab was asking, I'm an architect and I try to use Blender for my freelancing projects. Can you recommend me some add-ons or methods other than ArchiMesh or ArchiPack? For sure, my friend. So ArchiMesh and ArchiPack are both great. But if you're doing architecture, guys, there's an awesome tool over here that's called the Measure tool right here. And this allows you, as the name implies, to basically draw a ruler and measure your object. You could click in the middle of it to add angles. And as you can see, you could draw multiple of these measurement lines. And this really comes in handy for architecture to be able to basically see how big or how long or the length of something. To delete them, you just have to hit X twice, and that will delete the lines. So yeah, the measurement tool is great. Also, another great thing that I like to do if I'm doing some architecture stuff and I need measurements is in edit mode under the overlays right here. I like to turn on edge length. so that I could see the length of the edges. And this really helps uh, to get a more precise measurement, obviously. So hopefully that helps you, my friend. All right. Does anyone else have any other questions? Again, questions can be related to anything. Great questions so far, by the way. Again, guys, we're live on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and Facebook. We do this every single weeknight. Every weeknight, same time, same place. Again, if you have any questions, just ask whatever question you want. There are no stupid questions. All right, let me check something. By the way, guys, on Wednesday evening, we have a live contest and challenge. You can feel free to join and participate or be a viewer. It's a lot of fun. And again, that's going to be on Wednesday, so 2 days from now. All right. Does anyone have any questions regarding anything? Okay. One question, if you don't mind. If I want to get into character modeling, where do you recommend I start if I'm a beginner in that subject? So if you want to get, okay, so the question is, he wants to get into character modeling. Where does he start if he's a beginner in that subject? And where do I recommend he start? So first thing I recommend if you want to get into character modeling is to get a good reference image that shows the loop cuts. So for example, right here, and let me show you what I mean. So over here, new courses, animated, where is it? I have so many files, guys. I don't know where anything is. Major loops. Let me try this one. So right here, actually, I don't think I have the. So again, the question is where to get started in character modeling. And let me open up. There we go. So if you're going to do character modeling, I recommend to get some reference images of a character that shows the loops and the flow of the character. So for example, I have this right here. I made this myself, but if you go to Google Images, you could get some on Google Images. So on Google Images, you could get them. Akuram says, I have questions out of the subject, how you shared screen. I'm using a Restream, my friend, to share the screen. So restream.com. I think it's restream.com. Yeah, just Google Restream. So right here, my friend, you can see that this really makes it easy because then I could kind of trace over it. And this will help you to learn the topology of the mesh. So right here, you could see I could just block out the major loops, which is exactly what I did right here for the model. As you can see, I blocked out the major loops. So right here, for example, I have these loops. I have these loops right here. And once you have those loops, you're able to connect it easily. For example, let's say right here, let me delete these faces. So right here, let's say I have the shoulder loop right here. So I have this shoulder loop, and then let me just delete these right here. So let me delete these right here. And again, if you can't see the full screen and it's kind of small on Instagram, go to YouTube, join the Zoom link, guys. You'll be able to see better. But you can see that right here. I have this loop, this major loop right here, and this one right here. So basically, once you have the major loops, I could just go ahead and select them and fill the rest. So right here, I could, for example, bridge the edge loops, add some loop cuts here, and just quickly get the rest of the model. And then same with the wrists. Right here, edge, bridge edge loops, add some loop cuts. Obviously, I would do it a little bit neater. But the point is, when you have these images that give you the major loops, it really helps because all you have to do is model these major loops and then connect the rest together. So that's what I recommend if you're wanting to get started with character modeling. Get some images that are from the side, like so, front, etc. As you can see, I made these. I have the model for the ear and all that good stuff. Hopefully that helps you. Akaram says, thank you anytime, my friend. Ab says, does using procedural textures instead of image textures actually reduce the size and complexity of the project file, or does it just not matter? It depends, man. So if you have a procedural texture that's really intense, it could actually take up more computing power than an image. And in that case, you could just bake it into an image. But if the image is pretty big, then it could take more. So it depends on the complexity of your node setup. So it all depends. Sometimes the node or the procedural textures will be bigger. Sometimes the image can be bigger. It all depends. All right, great questions. Thank you, bro. Your fellow boy says, anytime, brother. All right, does anyone have any other questions? Yay, tutorial. Salty Sandy says, what's up, Salty Sandy? Cool and interesting username. Salty Sandy. All right, guys. By the way, once again, feel free to join in the Zoom. To join in the Zoom, just go to zoom.com. And Yash, I see yours. I'm going to read it in a second. And in Zoom, just type in the ID 891-1925-4656. Yash is asking, I want to see something cyberpunk design made using hard surface modeling from a design I will send you in Insta. I want to see something cyberpunk design made using hard surface modeling from a design. Let me check what you sent me. By the way, guys, if you want to send me or message me, blendermania3d.com is the best place to reach or send me anything. Let me see. So you're trying to make something like that? So again, Yash, if you could send it to blendermania3d.com, makes it a little bit easier because then I could share it on the live stream. But yeah, to make something like that, again, I would just block it out first. So just blocking it out first and then adding the material. But if you want to send it to me on blendermania3.com, I could better take a look at it and maybe do something a little bit more with it, because right here on Instagram, I can't really access the image except on my phone. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Again, questions can be regarding anything. Ab says, modeling a car, how do I do it? A lot of the tutorials are kind of complex. Yeah, man, I'm actually going to I'm going to do a car modeling series here because a lot of people have been asking for that. So I'm going to do a car modeling series. And so I think I'm going to do that after this week, because this week I'm doing sculpting series and then I'm going to do the car modeling series. I was trying to access, oh, there's my messages. Trying to access my message that Yash just sent me. So yeah, I will be doing that, man, because a lot of people have been asking about the car modeling. So hold on. Gosh dang it. What's happening? Open image in new tab. Okay, so Yash, if you want to send me the image on the chat, it's a little hard for me to get it on Instagram. Yeah, that too. The cars sound cool. Yeah, boy. Yeah, fellow boy says. Yeah, everyone wants to do the car modeling. I'm gonna make a series on that because, again, it's However, I'll say one thing for car modeling. What a lot of people do wrong with car modeling is that they try to block out the whole car as one single piece. But if you look at a car, you have multiple pieces to a car. You'll have, and obviously right now I'm not going to do a whole car, but right here you'll have like the car door right here, the front door, you'll have the back door, you'll have the side fenders, and you'll have, for example, the hood, etc. And if you look at a real car, everything is separate panels or pieces. The issue that a lot of people do is that they connect all these into one single mesh, which makes it really challenging to get the proper loop flow, because then you're adding a bunch of geometry to, let's say, the front door to get detail on the hood. You want to model stuff how it appears in the real world. If you look at a car, all the different panels are modeled and assembled separately. I have sent that in Blender Mania. All right, let me check it. So everything is separate. Okay, so Yash is asking about that. So yeah, I mean, for this, let me save it. So Yash, you're just wondering how to model that, basically? Yash, did you make that, or you're wondering how to make that? So Yash is asking how to make this cyberpunk type sword right here. So let me load it in. I'm not going to do the whole thing, obviously. Let me see. You guys can see my amazing pictures right here. There we go. That makes sense, actually, Ab says. Yeah. And again, that's an issue that a lot of people do when they do cars or anything, really. For example, you can see this sci-fi arm thing right here that that Yash sent me. All of these are like separate pieces that are assembled together. The issue that a lot of people do is they try to make it all one mesh. For example, they'll make the blade part of this thing right here, which is not necessarily what you want to do. Yeah, so the blade is simple. For the rest, it can be pretty simple as well. I mean, what I would do, um, so let's say you have this right here. And again, I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to go over a couple basic principles. But you have this right here. Obviously, this goes on top of a forearm of a person. So if you have a model of a person, obviously you could kind of start with that. So for example, right here, let me go ahead and append. Let me go to my files here. So right here, new courses, animate short, major loops, and character 5. So right here, let me move this to the side. And again, you don't have to do it this way, obviously. I'm just showing you how I'm thinking about going about this. So right here, again, if you were to just make this, you don't have to worry about any of this really. But I'm thinking, obviously, you want to put it on top of a character. So for me, again, this is the way I would go about it, because a lot of people would do things differently. But you can see that right here, obviously, this needs to go on the whole forearm from the elbow to the forearm of the character. Now, obviously, all of your characters are going to be slightly different if it's a bigger character or smaller character, etc. So right here, for example, we could kind of, since we have a character, I could go over here and I could kind of take some of these faces right here. So let's say I want this weapon thing all right here. So let's say I want it like so, from the elbow to there. Well, I could kind of, are you familiar with Samuel Krug's black hole tutorial? I am not. So right here, I could kind of take this and duplicate it, because again, I want this to fit on the human character. Now, obviously, like I said, we don't have to do this, especially if you don't have a human character. But here I could then hit P and separate selection, and I start with the correct kind of plating that is going to fit exactly to the form of my character. So now I don't have to worry about that. Of course, you could also shrink wrap it and things like that. But again, I'm going about it in a certain particular way. So, for example, right here, let me move this out. Right here, I have this. Let me scale it down. And over here, I can now start to kind of shape this a little bit. So, for example, maybe I want to select all of the edges right here. And I want to hit Alt Shift S and kind of make it a little bit to sphere. And kind of a great shortcut key, by the way, guys, is G twice. If you hit G twice, it allows for you to edge slide your vertices. So right here, I could kind of edge slide my vertices to kind of rearrange it a little bit. And right here, as you can see, we have another panel on top of that. So then I would kind of start to just take these faces. I could hit the I key, start to inset it, and then E key, start to extrude this. And I could start to kind of get the shape of what I'm going for here. Of course, then I could select these edges. Again, G twice will allow for you to edge slide. So I could edge slide these like this, kind of taper it off a little bit more. And then obviously, you would want some thickness to this. So we could add a great modifier to add is the solidify modifier. Solidify modifier is going to add some thickness to your mesh, as you can see right there. So I could add a little bit of thickness to the mesh right there. Let me shade it auto smooth. And now you're starting to get kind of the hard surface. Again, everyone might go about it differently. I like to block things out before I get into detail. So I like to kind of get the overall shape of things and block it out before I go into smaller detail. So right here, and again, it also helps if you have multiple references, because right here, it's a little bit tricky to see how this right here is kind of connected. But let's say right here, I kind of want to add an arm right here and an arm right there and some kind of circular and maybe like a piston. Well, again, I would block it out first. So right here, I would just add in a plane. So let me add in a plane right here. And I would block it out and make it two-dimensional first using the least amount of geometry that I need. So for example, right here, I could just go ahead and kind of bring this over, extrude it on the Y, maybe add a loop cut there and one right here, and kind of delete this face right here. Again, I'm blocking it out. It is shown in the corner with 3 images. I'm not sure what you're referring to, my friend, but so right here, I would start to block it out like so. So let me just kind of block it. And then, for example, with these kind of circular patterns right here, a great tool, guys, if you want to use loop tools. For example, right here, I could add a cylinder. So cylinder in the reference image only. Again, I'm not quite sure what you're referring to, my friend. In the bottom right corner of the reference. Oh, you mean right there? There's different images? Yeah. Again, I'm just kind of quickly going over this. I'm not obviously going to model this whole thing. But right here, for example, I could start to add this. By the way, guys, a great tool is loop tools. For example, I could select these 2 faces, I key to inset them. And then if I have loop tools enabled over here, so let me, I have it enabled right there. If you have 2 opposing faces selected, you could click on bridge and it will bridge them, as you can see right there. And now we have this right here. Pretty cool. So then I could just kind of start to slowly but surely block this out. Again, I'm only looking to block it out right now. So with this, obviously, I want to add a solidify modifier, kind of increase the thickness a little bit. And right here, for example, I want this to kind of wrap around the circular part right here. So for example, I could add a couple loop cuts right here, like so, and maybe one right here. I could select these and hit Alt Shift S and 1. Actually, I need to hit Shift S, cursor to selected. Let me change this to 3D cursor, Alt Shift S. No, that's not working. Let me try to change it to circle. Give me a second. Let me see. Why is this not working? Let me see. Shift S, cursor to selected. I'm not sure why that's not working how I want it. But basically right here, I could go ahead and start to kind of shape this a little bit more how I want for it to be a little bit more circular. So for example, in fact, I'm thinking, let me see how this looks. Maybe I want to wrap the whole thing around this right here. So I could go ahead and just kind of extrude this around the whole thing. And let me scale this up a little bit like so. And maybe bring this over here. And right here, let's say I want this to be a little bit more of a circle here. So I'm going to add some loop cuts right here. And right here, I'm going to go ahead and select these faces. And let me select all of these. I key to inset them. And let me change this to a circle right there. And right here, I'm just going to go ahead and delete the faces. And again, obviously, I'm going off the reference image, but I'm just kind of blocking things out. So as you can see, you want to first block things out. And then as you start to block it out, you could refine the shape of it a little bit more. Then, for example, if I want to get the blade in here, I could just connect this. And again, right now, things aren't really connected nicely. I don't like it that much. But again, we are refining the shape slowly. So right here, another cool trick is Control right click will allow for you to extrude out like so. That's a little bit too curved of a sword. So Control right click allows for you to extrude out. I could then turn on proportional editing, kind of scale this down. Let me change this back to medium point. Scale this down like so. Turn off proportional editing, scale it down. Again, I'm making the sword way bigger than it actually is. So right here, we could go ahead and extrude it out even more. Bring this like so. Right here. And again, with this, we want to obviously add some thickness to it. So I'm going to add a solidify modifier. And again, guys, you can see that this looks pretty terrible right now. But again, the way I go about it is I block things out. I don't like to detail things a bunch because then you're going to have to tweak it a lot. If it's not what you're going for and you have to tweak it a lot, it's going to make it a lot harder to tweak it. Whereas if you block it out first, it makes it much easier. So for example, right here, I could apply this solidify modifier. I could add a loop cut right here and hit Alt S and kind of increase this to give it more of a blade shape right there. So like that. And then right here, a cool shortcut I like to do. If you select something and it's a little bit too pinched, you could hit Control B to add a bevel and then kind of increase the bevel amount, let's say to 3. And then I could kind of smooth this out. Obviously not that much, kind of like that. And it will kind of smooth it out, as you can see right there. And then, for example, right here, I could kind of just take this second arm. And again, I'm just blocking things out because obviously right here, this one is different than the other one. But right here, kind of just blocking it out to kind of get the overall shape and look that I'm going for. So right here, I could just get these right here, turn on proportional editing, and kind of slope this one a little bit. Let me change the fall off to sharp fall off right here, like that. And then right here, well, hopefully that helps you, my friend. Again, I'm not gonna necessarily model the whole thing, although I'm kind of sort of getting there, not really, but. And then right here for like this metal part, I would just go ahead and here I could select this vertex. Again, you want to model things how they would be in real life. So right here, this looks like a separate piece to the sword that's connected on the sword. So I wouldn't go to the sword and make it the same material. I would just add in a plane right here and make it a separate material here. So right here, I would just go ahead and change this like so, like that. And again, also another thing you could do is kind of split the screen right here and have a second window to be able to see the reference a little bit better, because right now I'm kind of going off reference. But again, I'm just trying to show the process of the thought process behind it. So obviously this needs thickness. Let's add a solidify modifier to it. Bring it up a little bit. And then right here, again, this is just a flat kind of plane. And then right here, I could just add some loop cuts, scale them down, add a loop cut there, maybe delete this face, and again, start to give it a little bit more of an interesting shape like we see in the reference image. So right here, maybe I want to go ahead and let me extrude this one. Now, again, I'm making it slightly different than the reference image. But again, we're getting the blocking out. What is this? What's up, Beeknayam? Sorry if I butcher your name. This is a live Blender Q&A and tutorial. So right now, someone was asking me how to go about, or some tips and tricks for how to go about modeling this sword arm thing right here. So I'm just going over a couple of little basic principles for this right here. So once you have everything blocked out, as I do right here, you can see it's kind of blocked out. Then I would go in and refine everything and detail everything a lot more. So, and again, what I like to do is first block everything, which is what we just did here. And then I would go ahead and do a second pass of detail. So I would do like medium level detail, and then I would do smaller level detail. So for example, maybe on some medium level detail, I want to go ahead and add in, some circles right here that are filling this area. So for example, right here, I could go ahead and add in a cylinder, scale it down like so. And again, still kind of blocking it out. But right here, I could go ahead and start to refine the shape a little bit more. So for example, I could hit the I key, inset it, E key, extrude, and kind of inset this to give it a little bit more of a sci-fi look. I could alt left click this edge, control B, kind of bevel it. Maybe over here, I want to hit control R, add 2 loop cuts, SZ, scale them down, kind of bring these up like so. And I could kind of scale these in like so. Right click, shade, auto smooth. And now I would start the second level of detailing. So guys, when you see complex models like this, I mean, this model isn't really that complex, but you just go in and kind of block it out first with bigger level detail, and then start to kind of refine it. For example, right here, if I want this to kind of look more like it's connected to here, I could turn on my snapping over here. So turn on my snapping. Where's my snapping? I could change it to face nearest. And right here, let me turn on proportional editing. And where's my proportional editing? There it is. So right here, I could just kind of start to snap this to the other part. Again, still kind of detailing it. Or not detailing it, blocking it out. If you were to want to actually connect this to there, obviously you could do that. Another thing right here, let me flatten this out. SZ. Let me change this to normal, SC, and 0 to kind of flatten it out. There we go. So hopefully that helps you, my friend. Again, I would spend a little bit of time on it. You know, obviously this is relatively fast, and it's not necessarily exactly like the reference image. But like I said, the way I like to do it is I like to block things out, which is what we did. Then once it's blocked out and I have the initial shape of everything, I like to do a second level of detailing. So basically a kind of second level of blocking. And then once that's done, then I'll go in and add the smaller details, such as, for example, right here, you can see we have the lines right here like that. Now, when you do that, you also want to see if you want it to actually be part of the model or if you want it to be part of a normal map. So for example, right here, you know, I could add smaller detail, but maybe I don't want it to be part of the actual model. Maybe I want it to be part of a normal map instead. So that's something you have to kind of see for yourself. So right here, I could kind of scale this right here. Let me turn off proportional editing. So hopefully that helps you a little bit, my friend. Let me scale this in. So you can see we could start to add some smaller details as we go. And then once you have everything, I would just parent everything to the main object, which would be this one right here. So parent it. And then right here, we could just go ahead and put it back onto the character, as you could see right there. Now for this, like I said, I could spend another like 2 hours working on this. So you can see right here also, I kind of tweaked some of this as well. So it's no longer snapping to the character. So if you want to do, you can make lines easily with Boolean and solidify modifier. Yeah, you could do that too. It can be placed on the other hand. If you have something like this as well, that's not necessarily snapping properly to your character. For example, let's say you want this to snap nicely to the character as well. You could also add a shrink wrap modifier. So shrink wrap right there. And you could shrink wrap it to here. However, obviously we only want the bottom vertices to shrink wrap to it. So you could select the vertices that you want to shrink wrap to it, which would be these right here. And you could create a vertex group and have only those vertices kind of shrink wrap to it. So right here, and then let me put this before the solidify. And let me put target normal project. And there we go. So like I said, you could use a shrink wrap modifier to kind of shrink wrap the object to the arm so that it is conforming to the arm properly. But again, my friend, it's a whole process. Like just to make this, I would spend like a good hour or two. Obviously, I can't do that in the span of like 10, 15 minutes. But again, blocking it out, and then once it's blocked out, adding smaller detail, excuse me, and then smaller detail, etc., until you have the look that you want. So hopefully that kind of helps you. But it's a really cool little model right there. But again, guys, keep in mind that when things are separate on a model, you want to model them separately. You did pretty good job for the time you used. Eh, I mean, yeah, a little bit. It's all right. Again, it still needs like an hour to an hour and a half of work. This is kind of like, I would consider this right here blocked out because it still looks pretty terrible, but this is blocked out. So from here, we can now go ahead and fine tune it and detail it. So there you go, my friend. All right. So for characters, would I have to block them out too? Absolutely. For characters, you want to block them out, do the major loops first, and then do the rest. All right. Does anyone have any questions whatsoever? I learned something new every time I watch. Thank you. This was very helpful. Anytime, my friend. Anytime. I'm glad you learned something. But yeah, guys, when you have something more complex, just break it down and don't try to get all the detail in the first place. So, for example, I would probably start with this, which is what we did, but I wouldn't try to get, the little rivets here and the lines right here. And same with this right here. I wouldn't get this small detail or these small lines. I would first block it out. Once you have it blocked out, then you do a second pass where you block it out, but a little bit finer. So you do smaller blocking details. And then once you do that, you add detail and then the textures, because the textures will also add detail. All right. Tips for low poly character creation. Yeah, I got the process. I would like to see some more designs like that because I want to do some game asset building. Oh, awesome, man. Yeah, we could do some more. For sure. And then somebody asked tips for low poly character creation, Headshot says. So for a low poly character creation, that's the question. Some tips for low poly character creation. Guys, a very simple way to create some low poly characters. If you go into edit mode of your mesh, we're just going to hit M and merge the whole cube to the center so that it's a single vertex. Once we have that, we're going to go to the modifiers. We're going to add a mirror modifier. Then we're going to add a skin modifier. So now we have this. So this is mirroring it, as you can see. Then if we just hit the E key and extrude it out, we could extrude out the body. E and X, we could extrude out the arms. E again to extrude out the forearms. We could then select this right here, extrude it out for the neck, extrude it out for the head. And then right here, we could extrude out the hips and the legs like so. And then the feet. So basically, I'm just using a single vertex with a mirror modifier and a skin modifier. But then what's cool is if you select a vertex, you can hit Control A and you could basically inflate it. So right here, I could kind of start to give him shape by hitting Control A and kind of inflating different points on the character, as you can see right there. So very, very quickly, we're able to get a low poly character, as you can see right there. We could even do the hands if we want. So with the hands, we could hit the E key and kind of extrude this out. And let me go into wireframe. So right here, let me extrude out the place for the fingers. Let's say he has 3 fingers. And then right here, we could hit the E key, extrude these out, maybe scale these down a little bit, like so. Again, someone asked how to make a quick low poly character. So we could add, for example, the fingers. Obviously, you could spend a little bit more time on it. Right here, I'm not going kind of faster. But right here, we could then select these right here. We could subdivide these edges. And what's really cool with the skin modifier and all this, right here, I could apply the mirror. So I could apply it. And then I could create an armature on the skin modifier. So right here, let me mark this as the root. I could create armature. And now we have a low poly character that is fully rigged and ready to animate, as you can see right there. Pretty cool. So you could create some really cool little simple characters using this method. Again, you just use a single vertex with a mirror modifier and a skin modifier. And now we got a fully kind of rigged character, as you can see. Pretty sweet. Obviously, I'd spend a little bit more time, as you can see right here. But you can see in the... let me open my file. In the new course that I just put out, the scenes course, we do the same method to make this character here. So as you can see, this character, kind of like a little superhero character, we use that same method. So this guy right here, as you can see, and then animated, although it's playing slow. But you can see that this character is made the same way that I just showed you. So again, just adding the skin modifier, and then right here, I have it rigged with IKs and everything. And same with the eyes, kind of did an eye rig and everything, as you can see right there. So yeah, that's a great way to make a simple low poly character. Make it do the gritty. As long as it's not the freaking what crap, I forgot what that dance was called. So there you go. So again, that's a great way to make a simple or low poly kind of character, as you can see right there. Again, this character was made pretty fast, but it's really cool. You could even make stuff like the tummy. As you can see right here, I even made a stomach for him. So he's got like a little tummy, as you can see right there. B for blender. So he's got a tummy. And again, he's fully rigged, but it's a simple rig that doesn't take too much time to create, as you can see right there. So very cool. Be careful with me. I use the initial cube. You can use the initial cube. Just collapse it into one vertex. All right. Does anyone have any other questions? Any other questions before we get into the live tutorial? By the way, guys, we have this every single weeknight at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We do a live Q&A and a live tutorial every single weeknight PST. All right. Does anyone have any other questions regarding anything? Geometry nodes, shared nodes, modeling, animation, whatever you want. I will answer it live. If not, we'll get into the tutorial quickly. The tutorial will be finishing off our low poly scene. By the way, guys, the official site for the community is blendermania3d.com. So blendermania3d.com, which I've posted on the site. I have one, just let me think about how to translate it in English, Headshot says. Cool, for sure, man. I gotta leave, bro. Thanks for today's wisdom. Anytime, you fellow boy. Keep it up, brother. All right, guys. Once Headshot asks this question, we're going to get into the tutorial. Never mind. I want to know about texture projection and texture modeling geometry nodes for curved surface. What exactly do you mean by that, Yash? Like how to texture curved geometry node objects? Is that what you're talking about? Or All right, let me get my low poly scene here. Yeah, sure. Are you talking about? I want to know about texture projection and texture modeling geometry nodes. Are you talking about like how to texture curved things that are curved in geometry nodes, or is that what you're talking about? Have you thought about streaming on Twitch or YouTube? I am streaming on Twitch and YouTube, my friend. I'm streaming on Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, Kick, and Facebook right now. So it's streaming everywhere. So yes, not only have I thought about it, but I'm doing it. Oh damn, okay, nice grind. Yeah, my friend. I'm streaming everywhere. Except for TikTok because they don't give me a freaking streaming key. To give a scratch-like look. Yash, if you're able to share me or send me a picture on blendermania3.com of what you're trying to do, I could look at it and see what you're talking about. And then, yeah. So send me a picture. In the meantime, guys, we're going to finish off our low poly scene. All right. So for the scene, it's going to be very fast. You can see that we have this over here. By the way, guys, if you have your low poly scene, go ahead and open it. If you don't, totally fine. I will show you some cool little tips and tricks for doing the low poly scene here. So you can see we have some low poly clouds, lakes, and trees. It's all geometry nodes. And right now we want to add a low poly mountain. So for that, of course, you can model it. You could do it many different ways. However, here with the Ant Landscape add-on, so under Edit Preferences, we could search for the Ant Landscape add-on. And then here, we could just hit Shift-A and go to Mesh and Landscape and add a landscape. We could then scale it up with the S key. So right here, we get our mountain. And then obviously this is not really low poly. Let's also apply the scale. So Control A, apply the scale. This is not really low poly. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a modifier called decimate. So we're going to go to the modifiers, get the decimate modifier. And right here, we're going to go to the option that says unsubdivide. This is basically the reverse of a subdivision. So the more iterations you put, the more it will basically unsubdivide the geometry. And now you can see that we could get some low poly looking mountain, as you can see right there. So very simple for this scene. Again, just using the Ant Landscape add-on and then using a decimate modifier. Hello, friend. What's up? The Boneless. Cool name. So yeah, we're just going to add a mountain and then just change the iterations to whatever you want. You could also change this to collapse if you like the look of that better. And you could change the ratio right here and kind of collapse it. You could also change it to planar and change the angle limit to kind of collapse it with this angle limit. However, I'm just going to go to unsubdivide and get a low poly mountain that way. All right. So now that we got that, we're going to add a new material to it. Very simple. Obviously, this is a low poly scene. So we're just going to add, or I'm just going to add a simple material to it like so. Then we want to add some grass to our scene. Now, obviously, this is a geometry nodes setup. So right here, we're going to go ahead. Jai Shri Ram. Not sure what that means, man. So right here, to add some grass, we want to go ahead and get our original grid. So I'm going to get a join G, place this at the end, and I'm going to plug the original grid right here. Actually, I'm going to plug the distribute points on faces into this right here. So I'm going to plug the distribute points on faces into the join geometry. So actually no, because it's going to be the same exact one as the trees. I'm going to plug the original grid into the join geometry right here so that we have our floor. And then what I want to do, you could see that our trees are inside the floor. So obviously I want to move them up. So I'm going to, and also the floor is in the lake. So after the trees, which is the instance on points, I'm going to get a transform geometry and drop this after the instance on points. You make a poly scenery? Yes, sir. Made a low poly scene with geometry nodes. Then right here, this transform geometry is going to allow for you to move, rotate, or scale your geometry. So I'm going to bring the Z up, and you can see it's going to move our trees up like so. Then I want to move the floor down because obviously it's in the lake. So I'm going to duplicate this and drop it after the grid. And I'm going to bring the Z location down so that it goes below the water right there. All right. Then on our floor, we want to distribute a bunch of grass on it. So here on the floor, let me go ahead and get a distribute points on faces right here. I'm not going to drop it anywhere. I'm going to plug this transform geometry into it and plug this into the join geometry. So now you can see we have a bunch of points all over our scene, as you can see right there. Now, obviously, we want to put grass there. So we're going to add an instance on points, and drop it after the distribute points on faces. Now, for our instance object, we want a grass object. Hi, what's up, my friend? I can't read your name, but hi, what's up, brother? On YouTube. Let me know, anyone, if I'm going too fast or if you missed something. All right, so for here, I want to hit Shift A, and I want to get a plane. So I'm just going to get a plane. And with this plane, very simple. I'm just going to grab it. Let me turn off proportional editing. I'm going to grab it and scale it down. So basically, I just have this shape here. Back on the plane, I'm going to drag this, which is called plane 001. I'm going to drag it from my outliner and drag it into my geometry nodes. And then I'm going to plug it into the instance here. So now you can see we have a bunch of grass everywhere. However, it's rotated the wrong way. Your Zoom link, what is it for, mate? Thank you. The Zoom link is so that you could see it in full screen and ask questions. So you could join in the Zoom link and see it in full screen, because on Instagram it's tiny, and also on Zoom you have the Q&A. You could ask questions. I've sent the example photo in Blender Mania, Yash says. All right, I'll take a look at it after. Like adding the curve texture upon that cylinder. Okay, got it. Let me see if I could get to that once I finish this. Also, you get your messages here instantly, unlike on YouTube and Twitch. Yeah, that's true. Although, well, no, because for all the other platforms on Restream, I have all the messages that go to my Restream. However, all of the messages on Instagram don't show up on Restream. Long time no see, Ram Hari says. What's up, Ram? Been a minute, brother. So yeah, I see all the messages on Restream except for Instagram. I don't see those messages. So I just have Instagram open. Oh, thank you, friend. Good to know. Yeah, anytime. How to get old Mastermind classes like 1920 and more. All of these are recorded and they're on my YouTube channel, guys. So Blender Mania 3D or Blender Mania on YouTube. So now for the grass, I'm going to go in this view right here. And in edit mode, I'm just going to select my grass and rotate it 90 degrees because it's rotated incorrectly. And I'm going to place it back right here. So let me place it where the origin point. Basically, I just rotated the grass so that it is rotated properly. Now, right here, obviously the grass is way too big. So on the scale, I'm going to put this down to like 0.08 right there. And now we have a bunch of grass. Excuse me. Also, bless you. Thank you, brother. All right. So right here, all the grass is all rotated exactly the same. So out of the rotation, let's get a random value. Random value. And now with this random value, we could randomize the grass, as you can see right here. So I'm mainly going to randomize the z-axis, like so. And I'm going to bring this down a little bit. So now the grass is randomized. Now, one thing is that you can see that we have grass in the water, which we don't want. So I'm going to plug this same greater than node that is plugged for the lake. I'm going to plug this into the selection of this instance on points so that we don't have grass on our lakes, which obviously would be great. And there we go. So now we're just going to add a simple material to the grass blade. I'm going to add a simple green color. 5 hours later. Oh, wait, I didn't click on it. So a green color right here. And also for the floor, let's add a new material for the floor. I'm going to make this a kind of darker green. Now for the floor, you have to add the material in the geometry nodes. So right here, we want to add a set material, drop it there, and select the material for the floor. And there we go. That is pretty much it. Now all we have to do is a quick light. We did do a low poly fire. I want it to be seen, otherwise it's kind of useless. So I'm going to bring this fire all the way over here, maybe right there. And there we go. It's definitely going to burn the trees right there. All right, and then if we go to rendered viewport shading mode, the lighting setup I like to do, although that looks kind of cool. It kind of looks like a night scene right there with the fire. Over here, I'm going to lamp, value of 4 right there. And I'm also going to, in the shader editor, and now we got this cool low poly scene. Let me change this to E. You have any video to explain about nodes and use of them on your channel? I have a course for that, my friend. So I have a course that's 55 hours long that goes over every single geometry node there is in depth, and create some awesome things as well. How much does the course? Headshot says. I'll give you a coupon for it because Udemy has different prices and sales, but it'll be $10 with the coupon. So I have a course. I have a course for shader and compositing nodes. It goes over every single shader and compositing node, how to use it, what every single option means and does, and in a not just learning what the options do, but you practically use them. And I have a course on every single geometry node as well. But yeah, the course is it's $9.99. It's around $10. So there we go, guys. Our low polycene. If anyone wants a course, just message me and I'll give you the coupon for it, because if you go to it now, it might be like $80 or something. But if you message me, I'll give you the coupon to get it for $10, depending on which course you want. And they're awesome courses. The Geometry Nodes course is 250 videos because, again, we go over every single geometry node, guys, that there is. Thank you very much. The Boneless says, anytime, man. And there you go, guys. We are done with the low poly scene. So that's pretty much it for the low poly scene series. If anyone missed anything with the low poly series, just check out my tutorials and my shorts. That is the shorts for last week. We create this whole scene. It is all geometry nodes. By the way, guys, again, with the geometry nodes, check this out. You could just draw wherever you want the lake, and it will just remove the trees, and everything is just procedural geometry nodes, and it's just so awesome and satisfying to do geometry nodes. So, yeah. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Please message me the coupon, please, Liam says. For sure, my friend. If you can message me, for anyone who wants the coupon, message me on blendermania3d.com or on Instagram if you don't have a blendermania3d.com account. But again, guys, if you ever want to reach out to me, blendermania3d.com is the best place to do it. Let me see if I already have a coupon for it. By the way, guys, I have over like 12 courses on Udemy. If you want a different one, just let me know. I'll send you a coupon for that one. But this is going to be specifically for the Geometry Nodes course, the coupon that I'm giving here. But I'll give a coupon for any of those. So I have to create a new coupon. So let me create a new coupon for you guys. Let me name it Live Coupon 2. Live Coupon 2. For India, it's actually 8,500 rupees, for which I have to work 8 whole days with 2 hours of overtime, but with coupon, it is fine. Are you saying without the coupon, it's 8,500 or with the coupon? How long does the coupon last? The coupon is going to be 5 days, my friend. So, by the way, one of the benefits to being on Zoom is that you could actually click on the links. Oh, yeah, without the coupon. I mean, don't get it without the coupon, man. Just use the coupon. So here's the link for the Geometry Nodes course. Again, guys, another benefit to be on Zoom and not Instagram is that you could click on the links, because Instagram does not have clickable links, which is the dumbest thing ever. I feel like if you're hosting, your links should be clickable. But anyways, I posted the link on YouTube, on Zoom, and Instagram. If you go to udemy.com as well and search my name, Alex Cordabard, you could put in the coupon Live Coupon 2 for the Geometry Nodes. It's not dumb. A lot of children are on Instagram. Yeah, I know, but like if you're a lot of children are on YouTube too, and they allow for you to post a link. I mean, I feel like if you're hosting it, you should be able to post a link, because it kind of handicaps you. It's kind of annoying. KK bro, Manohar says. So there's the link, guys. Again, it's an awesome course. It goes over every single geometry node there is. With coupon, it's 0.854 or 854 rupees, which is just my 1 day payment. Nice, man. Hey, it's a great course. I spent 6 months working on that course. It's good. Maybe I'm not that smart about social media, Headshot says. I mean, I do agree that, that's why I keep my whole site and everything PG, because I know there's kids who do Blender and stuff like that. So I like to keep it family friendly and PG. Yeah. So with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and end off. Yash, I see your texture thing. So let me get to that quickly, and then we'll end off. So Yash, let me save your texture somewhere here. Gosh dang it. So Yash sent me a texture. By the way, guys, if you ever want to reach out to me, just blendermania3.com. That is the official site for this community. And also, we do this live Q&A and tutorial every single weeknight. Every weeknight, same time, same place. Yeah, I am listening. Yes. Excuse me. So every weeknight, same time, same place. Once more, explain sky texture, please, Manohar says. Oh, for sure. So let me explain that quickly because that was part of the tutorial. So Manohar is asking to explain the sky texture once again, quickly. So right here, if you go to the shader editor, so shader editor, you could then change this because this is your texture nodes. You could change this to the world nodes. So the world nodes is basically this background that you see. And built into Blender, you have a sky texture. So out of this color right here, you could drag out a sky texture just like that. Now, the sky texture is really cool. It's great for lighting. And you have a couple of different settings here. Now, the settings I use the most is right here, the background strength. This is going to be the strength of the background, as you can see right here. Obviously, we could increase it or decrease it to have it brighter or more intense. And then right here, you can see that the sun disk doesn't work in Eevee. Now, the sun disk is this right here. If I go to cycles, you can see that we have an actual disk for the sun. Right here, you can see that the sun disk, if I put the sun disk size, let me increase this, and you can see that we have an actual disk for the sun. Now this node works in Eevee, but in Eevee you don't have this sun disk. You could change the sun elevation, so how high or low it is in the sky, rise or sunset. And then you could change the altitude. This is basically level that your camera is going to be at. Say you're on a mountain, and also the ozone. So hopefully that helps you. Again, sky texture. To get a proper transparent PNG, can you show me a method to make like a transparent? Sure, my friend. So Manohar says, thanks, bro. Anytime, brother. SkyTech, by the way, Manohar, I have a short on my Instagram and YouTube and everywhere that goes over the sky texture. I forget which one it is, but I think it's like number 20 or 30 or something like that. And it'll go over every single option of the sky texture in under a minute and a half if you want to check it out. Your audio is breaking. Is it breaking bad at least, though? Or is it just breaking? Can you hear me now? How is it now? All right, so Yash, I'm going to answer the question for the texture and then for the transparent images, and then we'll end off. Let me know if my audio is better, Sidish. Can you explain why do we need to UV stuff, adding seams and packing manually instead of using smart UV feature in Blender? Yeah, for sure, Sid here. This is actually going to go with what Yash was asking, because Yash was asking me how to add a certain texture onto a cylinder. So I'm going to do that quickly. CDH says yes. Okay, awesome. I work on Houdini for a short time. Do you know if models of Blender can cooperate with Blender? Do you know if models of Blender can cooperate with Houdini? I'm assuming you're asking. Yeah, you can use Blender models in Houdini. They're just FBX and OBJ formats. All right, so going to Yash's question here quickly. So Yash has basically a kind of, let me see here. So let me see. Yeah, let me just create this quickly. Give me a second, guys. I'm just recreating the model that Yash has in what he sent me. All right, that should be good. Wait. Yeah, I'll just do it like that, whatever. I'll just do it like that. That's fine. So yeah, Yash. Well, actually, yours is slightly different. Let me also add a cylinder. All right, so two people were asking about UV and UV unwrapping and all that stuff. So right here, Yash has a texture. And so right here, and again, Sud here, this will answer your question. Can you explain why we need to do UV on UV stuff, adding seams and packing manually instead of using Smart UV feature in Blender? Honestly, I use Smart UV Project quite a bit because it makes it a lot easier if your models are very simple. So if you have simple models, Smart UV Project is great. And it actually works better most of the time, a lot of times. Again, if you have a simple model. So right here, let me go ahead and open my image right here. So, yeah. So Yash was asking, he said he has a texture like this, and he wants to add it on this kind of model right here. And Yash, as you could see, by default, if we go to the UV editor, you can see that this is unwrapped like so. So we have this certain kind of unwrap right here. Now, as you can see, it's working pretty nicely actually for this kind of unwrap. So that works fine. However, if we hit Smart UV Project, you can see that this is going to Smart UV Project it. However, in this case, it's not oh, we still live? Yep, we're still live. So in this case, yeah, I just want that only in cylindrical shape. I'm not completely sure what your question is, my friend. But you can see that here, if I unwrap it, we have this right here. But the original unwrap that it came with, as you can see, unwraps it pretty nicely because it doesn't add any seams. Now, the thing is, if you do Smart UV Project, and let me do the same thing on here, link materials. I think they mentioned something about curved surfaces with UV. Yeah, this is the curved surface that he had sent me. So that's why I'm kind of going over that. So right here, you can see that with Smart UV Project, for the person who was asking about Smart UV Project, it works great. However, you can see that here, especially on the cylinder, you can see that we have it kind of cut up into a lot of pieces, which we don't really need because this cylinder right here really only needs 3 different unwraps. One for the side of the cylinder or what's wrapping around, one for the top, and one for the bottom. So Smart UV Project works great. However, sometimes adding seams manually gives you a little bit more control. Because once again, here you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have 5 different pieces and projections. But here, if I just add a seam along one of the edges on the back, Control E, mark seam, you can see that here, if I unwrap this, we obviously need more seams. I'm just showing you how it unwraps. You can see that this unwraps terribly. And that's because we need to cut out the top and the bottom. So if I Alt left click the top and add a seam here, and then Alt left click this part and add a seam here, you can see that now, if I unwrap this, we only have 3 unwraps. We have the side of the cylinder and the top and the bottom. And this gives us a much cleaner unwrap. How often do you host these meeting streams? Every single weeknight, my friend. So every weeknight. What difference between a EV renderer and circles? Can you explain to me? Thank you, bro. Wait, what? What a difference between a EV render and a circles? Oh, you mean cycles? Can you explain it to me? Thank you, bro. Basically, cycles gives a lot more realism because, I mean, everything is turned off in EV. So in EV, you have to re-enable a bunch of stuff. With cycles, you will have more realistic renders because it's already calculating, for example, the light bounces, the transparency, the caustics. Well, not really caustics, but it calculates everything that you need: the ambient lighting, the light bounces, the mirrors, the transparency, everything. With EV, you have to re-enable a lot of these things, and sometimes it can be a hassle. So cycles is better for more realistic renders, but EV is faster and usually better for like cartoonish renders. So Yash, I would do kind of something similar on this model right here that you sent me. I mean, I made this one, but it's different. I would just, I would select some of the edges on one side. So let me actually just select it like that. So select some of the edges on one side, like so. And then I would, like a material preview. And then right here, I would just select the loop around it, like so, like that. Control E, mark seam, and then we could unwrap this a little bit nicer. As you can see right there, we got a nice unwrap for that kind of model. Now it all depends because obviously wherever you add seams, it's going to add a cut in your texture, as you can see right there. So this is why I like to use procedural textures instead of images as well, because you don't run into that issue either. And for the other person asking about Smart UV Project, let me show you on a more complex model, for example, the human model that I was showing. And then Yash, I'll get to your question about creating transparency for images, and then we'll end off. What do you prefer the most? It's like you choose from what kind of project you have. Yeah, it all depends, the boneless. So if I'm doing like a more realistic scene, I'll choose cycles. Like if I'm doing an environment or a more realistic scene. If I'm doing a cartoonish scene, I'll choose Eevee. Yash says, I got that. Awesome. So again, if I want more cartoonish, I'll choose Eevee. If I want a little bit more realistic with better lighting and stuff, I'll choose Cycles. Cycles is a bit slower, but it's more realistic. Excuse me. All right, so right here, someone was asking why not just do Smart UV Project all the time. So for example, right here, you can see on this model, let me go to the UV editor. Shoot, UV editor. You can see if I hit U, Smart UV Project, and click OK, you can see that by Smart UV projecting, it works on simple models and simple objects. But you can see that on here, it's, you could get away with it, but it's a complete mess. I mean, on here, I don't know what is what. I do know that this is the hand because obviously it looks like a hand. And that's pretty much it. This thing has been decimated. You could see the hand right there. So that's great. And again, you could use it, but it's not practical because when you're texturing this, you have, like, for example, here, half of the face is here and then the other half is somewhere else over here. And it's just a mess. So here I added seams, as you can see here. So there's a bunch of seams, as you can see right there. And with this, I'm able to have a little bit more control. So if I hit U and unwrap, you can see that I have a much nicer unwrap. Where right here, I have the face and the head. Over here, I have the front. And here I have the back. Over here, I have the thighs. I have the hands right here. I honestly don't. Well, these are the ears. And you can see that it's a little bit more organized and much better. It makes it much easier to then texture it. But again, like I said, if you're doing a simple model, hi, what's up, DJ Guruj? I'm butchering everyone's names. But yeah, if you have a much simpler model, then yes, I do Smart UV project a lot of times. All right, last question. Putting seams on more complex objects might seem difficult at the beginning. If you're having troubles with it, you can think of like you would put seams on a shirt. Exactly. You just think about it like clothing. So, yeah, that's a good point. You just think about it like clothing. So, where, especially on a human, where are the seams on your clothing? So, usually on a shirt, you have seams right here, you have seams around the shoulder, and right here, because again, they sew those up exactly the same as you would sew this up right here, as you would sew this mesh. Again, because it's basically going to unwrap it and lay it flat. So the analogy I always use is if you have pants and you want to project an image onto it, where would you cut it? So like a headshot says, you cut it where the seams are, and then you could lay it out flat. You could project an image onto it, and then you could re-sew it at those seams and put it on a 3D object or model or yourself. It was a little understandable, but it goes mesh and cyberpunk design. I'm not sure what you mean, my friend, but I will answer your other question on the fake, how to do transparent backgrounds, and then we'll end off. By the way, guys, we do this every single weeknight, same time, same place. So last question here. Yash is asking, I am unable to get proper transparent PNG because it's fake everywhere, showing a transparent like background, but it's just colored like that. Can you show a method to make that like a transparent? Definitely. So I'm going to go to Google Images. When we can find you live, how you make lives. I go live every weeknight, same 6 p.m. PST. Guys, you could get all the info on blendermania3d.com. That is the official site for this community. So every weeknight. All right, so right here, let me try to get a fake PNG image. All right. So let me get a fake PNG image, guys. Give me a second. Give me a second. Can you show me face rig? Manohar says, yeah, I could do that another time, my friend. Because after this we're gonna end off. But tomorrow, if you want, I could go over facial rigging and stuff like that if you want. All right, guys. So over here, Yash is asking. He says he downloads a bunch of images, but they're fake PNGs. So for example, here I'm gonna add a plane, and let me add my fake PNG image. So right here, I'm just going to get my image texture and let me open it. Which one is it? Right here. 5 hours later. Oh, wait, I'm not in render viewport sharing mode. All right, guys. So right here, I have my image. It's a fake PNG. So sometimes when you search for, tree leaves or leaves or whatever, alpha or pound, and then you have freaking checkered a fake which sucks. I've been so all are asked to. If I go to the alpha, we don't have anything, and if I plug the alpha into the alpha, it's not going to be transparent. So we need to create where it's going to be white, it's going to not be transparent. So right here, we want the background to be black or transparent and the leaves and the tree to be white. So right here, we're just going to flip the color ramp. And then I'm going to bring this black slider down. You can see we have exactly that. We have our transparent, our fake alpha image now transparent. Now you can see it has like some white, so you could kind of mess around with this and kind of contrast it more to kind of. All right, guys. So that is pretty much it. Does anyone have questions on that? Tomorrow, what I just went over with transparent, what it means, what a setting means. Anyone have any questions? By the way, oh man, got that thought it needs some different. Oh man, got that. I thought it needs some different software. No, brother. So all you need to do is that. Just plug your image into a color ramp, adjust the color ramp so that whatever. Of course, you can bring it into Photoshop easy way. As you can see, if I mute this color before and after. So very, very simple. All right, guys. So that is pretty much it. Search Blender Mania on YouTube. Guys, the official site for this community is BlenderMania3D.com. If you ever want to reach out to me there for help, I'm on that 24/7. I'm on there all the time. So I'm going to post the link again, BlenderMania3D.com. You can find the time for all of the lives and contests and everything. Again, this is every weeknight. So we will be live again tomorrow, tomorrow. Basically, same time, same place tomorrow. So 6 p.m. PST, we'll be live again. All right. So with that, guys, and Manohar, if you want tomorrow, just ask me about the face rig and the character rig. We could go over that. So with that, guys, hope you guys got value. And we'll see everyone on BlenderMania3.com. We'll see everyone tomorrow on tomorrow's live. Hope you guys enjoy your evening or morning or midnight or 3 in the morning, wherever you're dialing in from. And excuse me, we'll see everyone tomorrow. See you guys. Ciao for now. Au revoir. And again, if you need me, message me on BlenderMania3.com. See you, everyone.